I've always looked at myself as more than just a trainer or whatever my career may be perceived at the time. Like, I write books, I write poetry, I'm a trainer, I'm a motivator, I want to be a public speaker, a motivational speaker. I like to do big speeches in front of crowds. I like that because it's more effective to get your point across if you can spread it to multiple people. Exponential growth works in that manner. So I like that type of projection. So I always do things with a business mindset. I mean, I have time when I'm not thinking business. Of course, you have to have that realism where you just live life and accept things and just have a great time, just enjoy life, or just live it. I have that every day, but you also have to know the two different worlds, the personal and the business. And I think I do a pretty good job of balancing the two, where if you're in my personal space, business won't even be discussed at all, unless you mention the business, Family Dreams Fitness, or what I'm doing. You may mention it for a brief second, but if you're in my personal space, in my personal world, family, friends, I usually don't like to talk about that type of stuff because I like to live a real life and a life that doesn't involve only numbers and money and business. However, when I step into the business world, I'm very good with that, where you won't be able to tell the difference. If you're in my business world, you're only going to see me as that business, and I try to be as great as I can in that aspect, in that world, that part of my life where, okay, we're talking about numbers, we're talking about business, we're talking about ideas, talking about expanding, branching out into different ways, how to network with certain people, how to do certain meetings, how to work with certain programs on a computer. That I love doing that part. But when it's personal, it's, oh, how's the family? Oh, how are you doing in school? Oh, how does your girlfriend, this or that? It's never, you don't mix the two. And that's something that I learned in the very beginning stage, not so much just from experience, but from reading and watching people with their mistakes when they mix both. The more that I do these reality show episodes or speaking in front of a camera or just getting feedback on my progress as a personal trainer or a business owner, the more feedback I get, the more I knew since forever that I had this skill of being able to communicate with people, or being followed, and not even just followed where I want someone to follow me, but it's just a natural thing where people generally like what I'm doing or have a view on what I'm doing. Even if I have nothing to do with them, if I'm there, I'm being watched at some point. So with that, I would like to use that skill or blessing for a positive, and that's to inspire and motivate. So everything that I do with the intention of, yes, okay, I'm happy of doing it, but how will this affect somebody else? I don't want to do something where, yes, I'll feel good, but then somebody else may not feel so good about it. So I like to do things where it'll benefit me, it'll benefit my family, and someone watching, if they see it, it will help them as well. So my whole life is, I know my purpose on this world. My purpose is to inspire through example. I like to lead by example. And the one thing that helps me with that, or one person that I resonate with on that level, where you're living your life to the fullest and you're doing things for yourself and your immediate family, but you also have an understanding and you acknowledge that you have a role as a role model, and that was Tupac. Tupac was the perfect example for this. That's why he's one of my, not only my favorite rapper and artist of all time, but he's one of my favorite people of all time, because he wasn't a thug, but he represented and created thug life because he understood that there was a minority group, which he was a part of, and there was a group of people who weren't being heard and weren't being respected. But he was very intelligent and respected, so he brought himself to the level of the thug, he masked himself in their culture and their lifestyle, created thug life. And so now when he did that, the whole world looked at him and was like, oh, thug. So when they looked at him, they looked at the whole thug life. They looked at the whole life around Tupac that was surrounded with thugs and quote-unquote thugs and people who were misunderstood and ignored. So once he did that, he shed a light on a whole nother world that America and the world was neglecting. So I want to have that type of role on my community and my family and in my people. I want to have a role where, yes, I went to college, yes, I may have this credential or this stature, I may grow to become way bigger than anybody in my family has ever seen, but I will always be level-headed. I will always be on the ground fighting with the soldiers, because that's where I want to be. That's who I really want to go up. If I go up, I want us all to go up. What fun is it for me to be somewhere and I don't have any family or friends there? I don't want to be friends with you just because you're at the top. I want to be friends, and I want to have my family and friends come with me to the top. So I always stay level-headed. And the number one person that has taught me that through example, which is my whole thing, leading by example, is Tupac. And Tupac, he was very brilliant in that concept. And what he did went over most people's heads, but he's an actor. He's a great actor at that. And he portrayed the thug so well that he lived it. He lived it so that you can see him in action. One of my biggest influences, a lot of what I do has the spirit and energy of Tupac, because he was just a great person who cared more about himself, and he was just a superstar. But if you knew him, or if you knew people who knew him, they would always tell you that it was never about him. He never considered it about himself. He was doing it for a bigger picture. So that's how I like to live my life. I like to live it where, of course, you're going to know about me. It's going to seem like it's all about me, but it's for a bigger purpose. As I mentioned in a previous episode, content is everything. That's just the way the world is going. We're pretty much related and intertwined with media and technology. When I was younger, I'm not too old, 23, going to be 24 in October, but when I was in elementary school, middle school, even beginning of high school, technology wasn't as impactful and as useful as it is right now. So when you would live life, you would live it with your immediate friends and family. Whoever saw it, saw it. And then word of mouth would spread on certain things that you would do. Oh, he got into a fight, or oh, he said this, or oh, he basketball here, rap here. It would go through word of mouth. But now with technology, we've just created another pretty much living organism, where it's a part of the family, it's a part of our life. So I would feel like I would be serving a disadvantage if I didn't include everything inside the media, or everything about me, to the world when it comes to the public side of me. I'm not going to give, of course, personal details that include my family or friends that they don't want out, or they don't want the world to know. Of course, that wouldn't be smart of me, and that wouldn't be fair to the other person. But everything that I give out to the world, it's because I want to give it out to the world. And the same with anybody that posts something online or puts on social media, that's because they want to. Whether they admit it or not, that's another thing. But if you put something online, that's because you want somebody to know about it, or you want your voice to be heard in some way. It can be a cry for help, it can be a cry for attention, it can be a strategy for business. It's all worked out some way for the person, but it's because you want it out there. So everything that I put out there, I want it to serve a purpose, and the whole purpose is to inspire, motivate, send positive energy, love. We're all in this together. We're all humans figuring out life and figuring out who we are at the same time. It's always a learning process. So since I'm home alone while I'm working on the business, this is my way of expressing myself outside of just the physical world. Just adds more dimensions to life. I live and breathe Family Dreams Fitness. In order for something to be successful, you have to believe it with all your heart, and you have to put that passion into it. I believe in Family Dreams Fitness so much that I already have tons of tattoos, but I got Family Dreams Fitness, the logo on me, so it's stamped for life. So I'm all in. This is my life. This is a commitment that's for a lifetime, and that's the energy and that's the goal that I want to possess and present to other people. I want it to be where a healthy lifestyle, it's a lifestyle where it's for the rest of your life. So when Family Dreams Fitness, when you train with Family Dreams Fitness, this isn't something that's looked at as, oh, for 2 months or 3 months or a year. This is, no, your whole life is going to change, and it's a new way of living.